Hello everyone, this episode is so dear to my heart. I have my beautiful mother on the podcast, just as I did in episode 3, but this time I've really allowed her to speak so freely about her journey and what she's been through. And this is so incredible because she is someone that in the past has had podcasts and programs and been really active on social media, but she's been silent for a really long time because she has had so much to process and so much to integrate. So this is the first time she's really speaking out about her journey in her travels, in her ayahuasca journeys, also in her previous toxic relationships. So we do have a domestic violence trigger warning, but I really invite anybody who resonates with particularly chronic pain, or being in a relationship that is either toxic or not serving. Hearing Mum's story really just shows us how it is achievable to get where you want to go, and that it is part of the journey and it is part of the process. And Mum's story has been the most inspiring thing to me that I have ever experienced, and is not only literally the reason why I'm on planet Earth, but is also the reason why I am at this point in my life where I do feel comfortable showing up, and I do love myself, and I do trust myself, and really do feel like I am on the path of where I want to go. So I am so excited to have you guys come on this journey with us and hear this story. It is a big one, as you can see from the time. So yeah, we'd definitely encourage you, if it is a lot, to pause and come back to it. That's totally fine. But yeah, once again, I mean, any wisdom from Mum is always just like my holy grail. So I would definitely encourage notes to really help integrate this level of information, because it is a lot. But I know that you guys have got this same spark in you, and I know that this is going to be so powerful. So enough of me. Let's dive in and listen to my beautiful angelic mother, and hear her journey, and how she has gotten through it all and where she is now, and further reiterating that point of like, you can be so integrated in the lessons and the things that you've been through, but you're never done, you're never fully enlightened. You're never this master sitting at the top of this hill. It is still a journey, and Mum being one of the most profound teachers I've ever had, for her to admit that she's still learning and she's still a student, is so beautiful, and for me is true leadership. So with all that being said, let's dive in. Love you. Enjoy. Hello, Mum. Welcome to the podcast. As if we haven't just been speaking for about 20 minutes.
Feels like we haven't spoken for years.
I know, it's been so long. And just before, I was testing the audio, and yeah, our little test run, it worked really well, but then it just started playing. And so then as I was starting this call with you, then it was still playing. So that's okay. Technical difficulties, but we're here now.
Gotta love those technical difficulties.
Look, yeah, all part of the process.
Right.
Oh dear. Well, to get the formal stuff over and done with, thank you so much for being on here.
Aww, thank you for inviting me again.
You're so welcome. I'm glad that we're finally doing this. It was made really easy by the app, so thank goodness for that. But yeah, it's very different to the last time when we recorded when we were together, and that whole setup was, I mean, it was great and it was awesome and we got video, but that was way more stressful.
Yeah, and then I remember like halfway through realizing that my headphones weren't connected or something.
That's right. Yep.
It's like the pro makes rookie mistakes all the time.
Exactly. It's all part of the process. But yeah, thank goodness for this. So happy to have you on here. And yeah, I know that gosh, there's like 1,000 things that we could talk about, but I'm really happy for this one to just, as always, go wherever it needs to go, and really just, keen to get your divine wisdom on here, to share with everyone, because your journey was been so powerful, in helping me in my journey, and learning from your experiences and the wisdom that you've come out of the things that you've been through, and so really emphasizing that we're never healed, we're never done, we're never fully healed or fully in. And I think that rings quite true for you now after knowing all the things, and still having to really experience some lower density things such as pain and emotion. So would really just absolutely love to hear where you're at, and in the hopes that this can not only help you in your healing, but also everybody else, as your experience has helped me my whole life. So thank you for that. And take it away, Mum.
Oh. Well, thank you, my darling, because just, you are literally just a shining light in my life. And in the darkest of times, no matter what, you and your brother are that light that reminds me and connects me back home to Christ and Source and all the things that I need, and that can be really hard to connect to when you are in chronic pain. And it's such an interesting journey because, I mean, I've suffered pretty much since I was 12. Autoimmune diseases, all sorts of things. I got lots of things.
all the things.
All the things.
All of them.
All of them. And, a lot of it initially come from trauma. Well, it came from trauma. And that was my life lived now, and then past lives. And then it was the system. The system destroyed me, pharmaceuticals and the Western medicine. So it has been, so it's been a really, really long journey, and uncovering all those layers and pieces, working out, what was pharmaceuticals, what was food, what was this, what was that, what was trauma. And then last year in my second Aya sitting, that's
Ayahuasca, for those that don't know the jargon.
Yes, the divine grandmother medicine.
Yeah.
Such an
Wow.
It's sure ain't for the faint-hearted, just like this whole ascension journey. God and the grandmother, and I say God, universe, source, whatever you resonate with. I was shown that our pain, and this is a common knowledge to some degree, that pain is information. But the way it was shown to me was so extraordinary. I was shown the pain throughout history, even through my family, teeth issues, why we have all of these things, and how pain is a gift for us. It's a gift for humanity, because it brings awareness into our body. Well, that's supposed to be what it does. Not go to a doctor and get a pill to mask it, but to actually inquire within self.
Yes.
And so I got all that information, and I was shown what my spirit guides and spiritual doctors would be doing, and at the start of this session. And that was this might be a little bit esoteric, a little bit woo-woo for some, but eventually this is the way that everything is going to be. So if it might sound over the top, but if it does spark anyone listening in any way, shape or form, definitely follow that or reach out, because this is where the magic is. So I was told that they were going to update my DNA. So all my crystalline DNA would be activated through that 6 to 8 hour journey that night. then I go in and get shown the pain is a gift, and I get shown many, many things. And then I had to give birth to the pain of hundreds and thousands of years of humanity's trauma.
Just light work.
Just light
classic.
work.
I've walked into Aya just healing my whatever's left over, and meanwhile you're just birthing the pain of humanity. It's just standard.
Oh,
It's
God.
pretty standard if you don't know, Mum.
And like most people, you know, their Aya journey is about themselves. Or no, Natasha Divine's is about humanity.
Whole nother story.
And all the multiverse. So I had to go through the most, just wow, what an experience. And that deserves definitely a whole discussion in and of itself.
Yeah, if you could just quickly, really just describe the pain. I know that you can't describe the pain, but to just give people an idea of like the excruciating pain that you were going through, and just the amount of time for an idea.
Yeah. So my whole journey went for over 8 hours. People had already left at the end, and my journey was, it was just getting to another level. The whole time, because I have chronic pain, and I have nerve pain. So for anyone who has anything like that, you'll understand what I mean. And it's felt from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. All parts of your body can hurt. It can localize in different areas. It can make you feel sick. It can cause all sorts of things, and anyone knows with chronic pain that messes with your head. So the whole journey, I had pain, localized mostly in my stomach, but it was, going through my body. Then when it came to the time that I was now being informed that I was going to birth the pain of humanity, it started from the top of my head. So it's almost like I was birthing this pain from my crown, so top of my head, and
all
then
the way through.
All the way through. So it's gone all through the chakras, and it held, where it held was in my womb. It was going down my body, and then it got to my womb, and it was just excruciating. I was sitting in this room, only a few goddesses were left. Everyone else had sort of gone to, rest and integrate for the rest of the night. But I had to
still going.
Still go. The pain, for any women who have had excruciating periods, endometriosis, cysts on their ovaries, anything like that, or given birth, they will understand the pain of at that point when it hit the womb. And I actually got stuck on the womb. So I just couldn't move it. And grandmother kept saying to me, it's okay. It's not your pain to bear anymore.
Wow.
And I was holding it, and I'm sitting there crying and screaming in part, like I'm in pain.
Wow.
The extraordinary goddesses around me have come, and they've just come to me, and they're holding my hands, and they're like, you don't need to hold it anymore. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to humanity. It was the most, it was just one of the most powerful things I've ever
to be seen like
experienced and witnessed.
Yeah, to have the people around you know, and like after I've watched you go through life of, you will say things that not regular people are like, what? And to hear that those goddesses, those women, the feminine was there around you, and they believed you, and they understood you, and they could see, like there was no denying like what you were going through. And that is just, that part always gives me goosebumps, because it does show the power, not only your power in your strength and going through that. And, you know, we're only, as brutal as this is, we're only given what we know we can handle. And so, you know, that in itself is so powerful, and your strength, but also to see the women around supporting each other and yeah, really doing whatever it was you needed in that process. And the fact that they just saw you for you, I think, and saw you for your service is the part that always gets me, because for so long that has been such a journey. So shout out to those women. And
honestly,
wow.
I think, and I haven't really, because it's been a whirlwind of a year and a half now. I haven't really been able to honor, to connect with those women, to even process what happened that night. But, you know, one of the things about Aya is that, and every single person throughout all the 16,000 years, it doesn't lie.
No.
There's no lying.
No denying. Once
no
you have
denying.
that experience, you're like, this is it. This is truth. This is source. This is facts.
Direct source communicating through you, this highly intelligent medicine that knows what you need. And so in that moment, I think to be seen and have those women truly see what I was doing. I was even told after, my God, everyone just comes for themselves. You did it for humanity. You know, your whole journey was for humanity. And I think because I know this within myself, you know, I can speak that stuff, but to, you know, people can think I'm blowing smoke up my ass. Not that I care what people think anymore, but like, you know, it could be easy to say, well, who do you think you are, or what, you know, but this is as true could possibly be. And to have those women see me and to hold me in such a sacred space. And as it started getting worse and it was really hard for me to let go, and this was one of the most vulnerable. This one always gets me. This was one of the most vulnerable things for me. My pain was so bad and I needed to be touched, and I'm getting told like that I just need touch, and on every single part of my body. And so I did have to strip my clothes off, and I did have to ask to be touched. This is the most vulnerable thing. Like, this is
such
not
a strength.
something. Like, that's not something.
No, nobody wants to be stripping their clothes off in pain in the middle of the jungle with these women that they just met, you know, a couple days ago. Like, that's nobody's signing up for that.
No.
That's
thank
full
God
vulnerability.
for Anya, because I, you know,
of course,
I'd had that previous
Anya
close
the angel.
connection. Anya the angel. So I mean,
she's a real person, but she's an angel. Yeah,
she is. Yes. And so I'm there going, oh my God, I just need to be touched. And they showed me, and I thanked them for walking me home. I thanked them for walking me on this part of the journey. And the pain, it settled down from the excruciating, you know, real excruciating part, but it was still there. And I was then told, and my divine union was in Australia at the time, but I was told that he would be the one that would walk me the rest of the way home. So then,
beautiful.
Yeah. So then after, like, I go up and I call him, and I could barely move from the place where the kitchen part, and then I had to go up to my room, which was the furthest part in the in the jungle, up a hill and in the dark, and
in full darkness, people. We're talking like the jungle of Costa Rica, darkness, like fumbling over steps. Like, what? This is not like a proper path, is it? Is it like? I can imagine it's not the smoothest thing you've ever walked on.
No. And my body was like, I had given birth. I was weak. I could barely step. And Cam was able to talk me through the whole process for over an hour or whatever, in order for me to then to be able to move and take the steps. And he walked me back home, and the Wi-Fi was going to cut out when I got into the room, so he literally walked me, to the door. And that's when they showed me that I would go to sleep and the rest of the work would happen, but that the rest of my healing then wouldn't happen until I was with my divine union and I would experience his touch. And I actually brought this up last night because, well, it's a year and a half later. And his touch is, he does have the hands of God. They are very, very healing, extraordinarily healing.
100%. The massage alone is wow. Like, that's a gift. That is a gift, to be able to sense the knots and not even like, it's just straight to the knot. It's a full intuitive process, I can confirm.
It really is magical, and I've not experienced anything like it. But they didn't tell me how long it was going to take. And a year and a half, it's still very much here. And I do have some swollen lymph nodes and things that a very past self of mine would have gone to the doctors and to the hospital and gotten those things checked, but not this self. So I've really been going deep again, further into, okay, what is this pain? And at what point, where am I out of alignment? What is going on? And I think I feel like I've cleared the things. I understand the things. I think this is just a humanity thing. It really is a humanity thing still. And because I have, this last year and a half, this divine mission has been quite extraordinary, and it's added a lot of layers of extra trauma to work through constantly on the spot. So, I do have the greatest faith that these next few months are going to be a really big indicator of healing. And now that we do have some space to do that, where we're not having to worry about where we're going to sleep for a little bit.
Settled.
I think that will make a big difference.
Definitely. I think it can be so hard first off, thank you so much for sharing that story. Your vulnerability is such a superpower, and is so inspiring. So I just know that is, I know that's a big deal for you. I know you can sum it up in 20 minutes, like it's nothing. But this isn't the first time we've even spoken about this, and the fact that there's still so many layers of integration. And that is something with, trauma in general, but also ayahuasca, is that the shamans do say that the integration is just as powerful as the ceremony itself. And this is a perfect example of that. The fact we've had this conversation many, many, many times, and it still has so many layers, and that is the gift of the medicine. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that. And what I wanted to say then, now I've lost it. Is about having, when you know all the things about pain, and we know pain is a gift, and we know that, each pain that we have is just an invitation to go inwards and go, actually, what truly is it? What is God, or what is my body trying to tell me that needs to change in my life, so that I can address the pain, not so that I can take a pill and slap a band-aid and do this. What really needs to change? And so I fully get how, you knowing all this stuff, receiving the messages straight from ayahuasca, and still being in chronic pain is no, it is not easy. It's
No.
super
And I
frustrating.
think too, because another part to it was, so the next day, I mean, oh God, I was so weak and everything.
Right, I can
But
see.
then I started feeling, because I really connected to Aham Prema, which is I am divine love. I came into full union with myself. I was one with Mother Earth. Oh my God, what the grandmother showed me was the confirmation that everything that God had been giving me the last few years and shown me
Yes.
through. And I remember going to lunch the next day, and because everything at this retreat is grown on the land and cooked there, and I'd heard about people talking about high vibrational foods, but because there was such a disconnect with my disease and poison body, is probably a really good way to explain it. I hadn't been able to do that, and I ate for the first time. I was eating food and feeling it, merging with my body and lighting my body up, and it was so divine. And there was a period there in that next day that I wasn't in chronic pain because I was feeling so aligned and loved. And when we did move location, and the location definitely did affect me, because the location was back where I was a week prior, and I had copped it very hard with a darkness attack, and was very sick and thought I was going to die out there. So I think when you were talking about integration, what was really missing for me is what I went through the very next day, moving location into a like a more toxic environment, and just energetically not as good, and very matrixy. And then only a couple of days later, finally did the manifestation and activation to meet my union, which is a whole other story as well. But I had to meet him in England, and where we met was so dark.
Oh, I've got chills because I know the density. I know the density.
And for anyone who is a light worker, one of the 144,000,
sensitive, even
sensitive, all of these things, you will know what it's like to be in a place that environmentally, energetically, is not good and not safe for you. But also where you can be targeted. And so those in union, I have been attacked since day one. And then coming into union, they were going to go full force. And I kind of knew it, but I just couldn't have. So
it's
I
so
went
dark,
from
and you never expect it. Like, of course, that's how it always works out.
Never expect it. And so I went from Aham Prema, divine love. I went from like this floaty, like just
one with the earth,
one with everything. And then to go into the depths of hell with my union, when in the ideal in my mind, it was gonna, just be this magical thing.
Because even there, you said mind. It's even there. It's those expectations that we put. Like, you can still know all the things, and still our default programming will go, oh, my union is going to be like this when we get together, and it's to go from Prema to
so and the food in England is freaking dense as shit. So so I didn't get that integration. I went straight hardcore into the next level upgrades and mission work. So I do understand how my pain, recovery has been delayed. There is one other piece, though, I do want to add in, because a couple of years ago, when my communication with God, Source, Universe, Divine really opened up, I actually communicated directly with God and asked about my pain. And I was actually told that the reason why I, at that point, was still holding on to pain is because I keep ascending out too fast. So it's to keep me grounded here, because otherwise I just go, well, no, I'm
yeah, 100%.
Go back, because I'm actually here altering something. I
Yeah.
know this, and again, woo, but basically I'm going to do quotations, but from the future to alter something from the past.
Yeah, I can expand on that because to just give people an idea. If you've ever met my mum, and I'm talking like in her presence, like even me who's known her my entire life, I still have these moments where I look at you, mum, and I'm like, what the, are you even here? Like, it's not that you're dissociating, it's not that you're detached, it's like I'm looking at you and you kind of like, not visually for me, but in this feeling of like you're kind of just like floating. And I really do feel like, that message that God has given you about the pain is to keep you grounded in here, because you are so ethereal and you are so in your feminine and working in these higher realms, and that part of the masculine is grounding. So I can really see why, the pain grounds you, and then not only why it is so critical for for you to have that grounding masculine presence, because honestly it does just feel like sometimes you just float away, which is which is also part of why I never feel separated from you. Like here, I mean, we're on opposite sides of the globe, and because of your, I don't know, ethereal cosmic nature, I know that you're right here. And yeah, obviously one thing about, that we obviously miss is the physical touch and the connection, but your presence is still felt. So if like I said at the start, if you've met mum, you'll know. You'll just feel what this means. And yeah, it certainly, it's unfortunate that the pain is what's grounding you, because I do firmly believe that if we are on earth here at this point, it is because we're working with the higher realms, and we're working with the other beings, but we have to stay on the ground.
Yes.
And it's hard, because it's so easy to go into the, like, earth sucks and blah blah blah, and it really is that challenge of accepting. And this has been easy for me because I love earth and I love the earthly elements and I love rocks and all that stuff, but it really is about that then ascension journey of having to descend and having to go, okay,
Yeah.
I'm meant to be here, and for whatever reason and for however long, I need to truly bring the love back for earth, because we need to be here. We're here for a reason. And so I fully get you in how that pain is bringing you back down to earth. Because you might just
Yeah.
float away if you didn't have it, and we need you, like, for real, we need you here. Like, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have this access to you and being able to voice memo you and call you, and whenever, like, I'm going through something. So I know that you're here for obviously a such much bigger purpose, but I wouldn't even be showing up on these podcasts to influence and help the people that I do if it wasn't for you. So I just want to say thank you for your thank you for your pain. It's certainly unfortunate, but you are always in service, and your position here on earth is grounding me, which is hence grounding so many other people. So really truly thank you for your service, even though it's
Thank
brutal.
you. Thank you, Angel. Seriously, like, it's the greatest gift to see what you're putting out into the world. And that, I've always said my pain won't ever go in vain. And, it's just worth it to me. But at the same time, I'm not willing to accept the story of pain.
No.
Like,
Yes.
I'm having those conversations really hardcore firm with myself now to say, okay, I accept that I needed the pain to stay.
Yeah.
But now that I have this new wisdom, I no longer, like, I want to be happy being here on earth
Yeah.
on my own terms.
Yes.
And without the pain. And I'm really glad you actually touched on something, because this is really, really important. And you said about the descension. So I realized that I've actually been I've been awake, in quotations, and ascending my entire life. And so ascension, this actually is it's a lifetime journey in different layers with different people, obviously.
Yeah.
But ascension is sold as just going up.
Yeah.
God, gotta not love mainstream spirituality now.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing. The information is always within. Like, it doesn't even matter.
always.
Like, even in this whole realm of yeah, sorry to cut you off, but just to give more context, even in this whole realm of spirituality, somebody online telling you XYZ, if that doesn't ring true to your intuition, then it's not true for you. And
That's right.
it is what it is. So even we have, and God, on the twin flame journey, that has been a massive one for me, about what everybody says one thing is online, and then so you contradict yourself and you're like, oh shit, am I meant to be with my twin flame? Like, doesn't feel right for me, you know? And so yeah, once again, there can still be BS online. Just because it's branded as spiritual does not mean it's truth. It's you are the
100%.
spirituality. You are the truth, the source. So yeah, going
And
back
that goes
to
the same for everything, like healing, ascension, or just
yeah,
spirituality,
exactly.
all of it. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not right for you.
Exactly. And it can
Or
be as
maybe
simple as what a
it's
doctor's
actually showing
advice,
you
right?
something. Yeah, that's
Same
right.
thing. Same thing. A doctor they can say to everyone, oh, it's better if you do XYZ. But for you, you're like, don't know about that. For example, the pill. That's supposed to be the best thing to go on for menstrual cramps, isn't it? But it doesn't ring true for me. So yeah, back to that of it's what your truth and your intuition says, and that is all that freaking matters. And do be aware that there is stuff out there that is anyone can post anything that they want. They can say whatever they want, but if it's that could be coming from not a place of their own source intuition tapped in, and it could be clouded. So it's up to you. Even what we say on here, like, you need to go inward and see what rings true for you.
100%.
It's about awakening. Like, we don't sit here and tell you what's true. We sit here and we do our best to awaken that truth inside of you. So back to the ascension. Take it away.
I'm really glad you said. I'm really glad you said that, though, because that was really, really good, because it needs to be said. So ascension requires descension. It is I can't, it's not on video, so I can't show.
I know drawing would help.
So if you look at a lifeline, so someone's plugged up to a heart meter and you see the lifeline pattern. Are you with me? Can you see what I'm saying? Yep. So
the heartbeat,
right?
you know, boom,
Yes.
boom, boom, this thing.
Yeah. So it's straight. It's like a flat line.
Yeah.
Vertical line, and then it goes up and down when the heart is doing its things, right? And then it's just flat when the heart stopped. So with divine fluctuation of life, and when you're on the divine path, that actually goes upwards. So now just picture we're looking at a graph and we're starting down and then we're going up. So there is going to be dips, but you're always going up. Always an upness. But there are dips that go back down. So that there is the ascension journey. That is the divine spark line of your soul activating and remembering. So when ascension is not just this one flash moment.
No, it's not this point of enlightenment done. No.
Now, in saying that, we do believe there is going to be a catalytic event, awakening event, but that does not that's not the fix all. Like you want to be you well, you don't, not everybody wants to, but if you do want to grow, ascension, the path is now, not waiting for something to happen. It's doing something now.
Yeah.
So when we have these enlightened experiences, like my aham prema, and then going to England and going boom, it's an ascension, it's an awakening, it's an enlightenment. You're feeling amazing. You've realized something. Now you have to integrate that. And sometimes I like to explain it like God's just gotten me, like took me up to the heavens and then just dropped me and went back down to earth. You go.
Like, now
drop
you go
me back
down
in
for
the
your
game.
training. Your training, basically.
That's it. And so then what you're to do is to integrate the teaching, integrate the lessons, integrate what you uncovered.
Yes.
And the integration is fucking painful because the integration is, you think, oh, your ego's so happy because you mastered something, you nailed something, you were feeling amazing. Oh yeah, well, you now need to go and walk your talk. You need to now go feel it, and the universe is going to show you all these different ways, different people, different things to test your levels.
Because the growth is not in the everything is amazing, prema. That's not the growth. The growth is when you get the training and you drop back down and you're suddenly back in the pits of hell and you're like, oh shit, I can choose to default to my original programming and my victim consciousness and why me, poor me, where this was somebody else, or I can take the lessons that I just learned. And it's so often that we just learn them. Like you get this moment of bliss and then you're like, what the freak? And that's where the growth is. And then that's when you skyrocket up 10 times higher than you just were. But what does that mean? You're going to get some training again. But the growth really is in the moments where you're in bed and you don't want to get out of bed and you're just like, what the hell has happened to me? I was just vibing so high. And now I've been told, and that's the challenge.
And it actually gets a lot harder before it gets easier, because going way, way, way back when I cured myself of anxiety and depression and borderline personality, all of these things, when you no longer walk with anxiety and depression anymore, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a very, very not good situation. And so mine was a domestic violence situation. Whilst I was a relationship coach and I was, helping everyone and doing all the things.
Yeah, wow.
Found myself, in this massive teaching, which thankfully they told me it was only ever going to be there for a year. So, okay. But in that time, I found myself severely depressed. And I was like, oh, God. Like, how? I know everything. I know how to get out of this. I know what's going on. I know what to do. And because this was a demon, so this is not just a regular person we're talking about.
We're talking dark.
Very, very dark. So they had twisted me to make me think that it was me and that it was me, there was something wrong with me. But for myself, just being in a situation when I don't have this anymore. I know how to not have this. It made me feel like a bigger failure. Me being in that relationship, whilst I was helping other people exit toxic relationships, made me feel like an even greater failure. So when you actually rise from something and learn something and then find yourself having to, going back, and you have to sit with all of it again, it actually feels worse. Because you're like, hang on a minute.
Yes.
I know better than this.
Yeah.
healing and growing and ascension is done in layers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no master. You're, for someone to say that they're a master, yes, I have reached ascended master level. But that doesn't mean I sit on a fucking mountain
No.
and people just come to me. It means that I'm still and forever learning.
Yes.
Forever learning, because I realize that everything that I have learnt and taught, so much of it is actually not right.
Mm.
Oh God. Right? But
that's always the brutal part. Because you're like, oh, whoops.
Yeah,
I didn't have it figured out. And that's the thing, is you're always a student. Always a student.
Always. And it's, you know, like with my clients, everything, like, I would gain so much. There's so much to learn from, like I've said to you. I mean, we say this a lot, but like I learned so much from you.
Mm.
And you think that I'm just teaching you. And I'm like, but you're teaching me. That there is always an exchange or a new level within yourself. And my union 100%, like my relationship with you and my union have been the two greatest signifiers of, wow, I thought I had my shit way more together than I really do.
Yeah.
And that the teachings that I was being taught were questionable, and I knew it all along. My soul always knew.
Yep, you had that icky feeling of like,
always,
not sure about this.
Always.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have to the journey.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt that when you said union. Like, it's so funny because when you achieve like this inner union and you're so like just so content with yourself and you're so confident and you're like, I don't need anyone, like I fully trust in my own divine timing now, like I'm just you just feel like you're at the peak and you feel so amazing and so strong. And then you think, oh yeah, like, you know, when union comes along or when, you know, somebody comes along, it's going to be magical and it's going to be perfect. Bow bow. It's you get now all of the thing. It's another training. All of the things that you thought you had healed come up and say, hello, have you healed these wounds? Remember these wounds? Remember these childhood ones you thought you wound? Remember, you know, these masculine wounds or the way that other men have treated you in your life? These ones coming up again. Have you healed them? Have you healed your wounded feminine? Are you going to respond in the way you used to previously respond? Or are you going to take your aham prema lessons and act out of unconditional love? And yeah, it really is. Like I cannot even speak on the union from where you come from, but from speaking on, you know, then entering or coming into a sacred conscious partnership, it's not easy breezy beautiful cover girl. It's like it's another training. And like you said, when you know you go up and then you dip back down, if you act with love and you continue to choose yourself within that partnership and choose your growth, you will skyrocket back up 10 times harder. And it's really riding that wave. But yeah, the training, it comes back, it comes back to you, and you get tested on whether you did really heal those things. And it's
100%.
and you can fall back into the victim, like, oh, poor me, this happened again, or oh no, they left again. Like, you know, you can totally choose that path, but you're now falling back and you're not taking the lessons that you learned. Or you can choose to take them with stride and just freaking trust and go, okay, okay, I'll do it. I'll do the things. And it really is worth it. But I think, one of the biggest things I think is actually allowing yourself to feel like a victim in your own sacred container is so important. Like
Mm-hmm.
when whatever the thing is or whatever happens, let yourself cry, let yourself just sob and scream. And you can even ask like the why, like, why is this happening? I don't understand. Let yourself fully feel into that. But once you have fully released those emotions, then you come out of it and you're like, okay, that was a little bit dramatic, now we can move forward.
That's
but
right.
if but if you don't allow yourself to have that full release, now you're masking it and you're bottling it down,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to come out. Now it's going to come out when somebody triggers you, and it's going to come out way uglier, and it's
Yep.
probably going to come out in front of other people. And so if you learn to allow yourself to have that, be the victim for how, in your own space, and
Yeah.
cry into your pillow, and whatever, and get Uber Eats and whatever you need to do, but emotionally regulate yourself. And
Yes.
then when you come out of it, you can emerge from your little hermit and be like, okay, I think, call your friend or call your family members, and get the support that you need. But now you're not coming from a place of just dumping the rubbish that you could have dealt with yourself. Now you're coming from a
Right.
place of you've done what you can, and now you're going to talk it out, and you're going to have these revelations that you wouldn't have had without that different perspective. And that's why support is so necessary. But you first have to support yourself, like that.
100. Yeah. Yes.
you
Like
yeah
you can't, like saying you can't, but this is true. There's no point. You're not going to go into union, and you can call it union all you like. It's not a fucking union if you have not done the union work yourself. If you cannot
yes.
self-regulate yourself,
Yeah.
you are just going to, you're not even going to call in a divine union. You're going to call
No.
in a twin flame or someone. You're going to call in something or some
Mm-hmm.
trouble. Because the self-regulation part is so important when you're in union and you catch yourself, something's not going right in the way you're communicating, to pull yourself away and check yourself without
Yes.
projecting it onto your lover immediately is the difference between a high quality level divine union and just a teaching
Yeah.
relationship or something like that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that if you cannot self-regulate, now I know it's going to kind of be a bit of a catch-22, but we need support, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know how to self-regulate, you're going to call in the wrong support.
Yes.
You
Yes.
may open
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
up to a teacher. There's many dangerous teachers out there, many. They're
Mm-hmm.
not trauma informed. They don't understand. And then they're going to project their shit onto you. And now you've got a
Yeah.
bigger problem than you had before.
Yes.
But if
It,
you can learn to self-regulate, sorry, what were we going to say?
no, keep going.
If you can learn to self-regulate, then you can trust, okay, I've had my little hissy fit, male or female, whatever it is. And then from that space, because when the student is ready, the teacher will come. So from that space, something will come across your radar, or a teacher, or something will come across your radar, and you will be in a true alignment to seek the support from where you need it,
Yes.
rather than projecting all your messy blah blah blahs onto a friend, or getting the wrong coach or therapist or whatever. And then that applies to your partner as well, because you're going to call in a self-regulated partner as
Yes.
well, which is, the ultimate of what you want.
100%. Because the difference between not being able to self-regulate and being able to self-regulate is codependency. And
That's
I
right.
100% in my previous relationship, when something would go wrong, doesn't matter what it was, I would need him to be there, and I would need him to hold me, and I would need to just have that there. And that, I mean, you need to hold yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you have to do the self hugs. When you're sobbing, friggin' hug yourself. If you like, I know that like you can even like caress yourself, like, or have your nails like, you know, on your, just some sort of touch
Mm-hmm.
that you would have seeked in somebody else. If you can give that to yourself, now you're not codependent. Now you're not going to draw in a
Mm-hmm.
partner who's filling in a gap. Now you're drawing in a partner who's filled in their own gaps, you filled in your own, and now you're like, oh no, we want to make this work because we want it, not because you
That's right.
need something. And that is a true conscious sacred union partnership, when
100%.
it's two and like obviously, yeah, you continue to work through things together, but there are just the bare basics. Like you need to self-regulate, because then in the most recent experience I had when I was emotional, I had to go into the other room and I had to sort myself out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not and that's actually the thing is, because once you work out how to self-regulate, then you realize you're more trauma informed than anybody else,
Yeah,
and you inform your own trauma, and you go do whatever you need to do. You run through, okay, all right, I know this is happening for a reason, blah, blah, blah. It's okay. It's all going to be okay. Because you can't expect somebody else to say the right things to you. You have everything you need within you, and you got to run through the process so then you can come back out and go, okay, I'm feeling a little sensitive at the moment, but I've done what I can. I know what I need from you now, and
yeah,
you can present, I need this from you. We can either talk about this and blah blah blah, or not, and you're going to have to go and process this on your own, and we can come back together once we, yeah, have processed our own crap. And that is the power. That is being a master at your own emotions. And I just think that, and it's not even just about relationships. Yeah, like we said, friendships as well. Like you
yeah.
do,
It's with everything. You want
yeah,
interdependence. You
100%. And
if you have that yourself, because one of the biggest traps, and we do this with friends or we do this with partners, is we come with expectations. If we
yes,
can't self-regulate, you're
no,
going to get fucking pissed off that your partner's not giving you what you need. And
yeah,
it's like, but you need to sort yourself
yeah,
out.
nothing external can
And
give you what you need. Like you have to go in first. You
that's
have to
right.
go inward. Like, and it even touches on, I spoke about this yesterday. Wherever you go, there you are. So it doesn't matter if, you're going to travel across the other side of the world, or you're going to get a new partner or a whole new friendship group. If you haven't gone inwards first, wherever you go, there you are. The same crap is just going to come up. I saw a
Mm-hmm.
girl post that she moved to Greece because her life was chaos. And,
Mm.
she just ended up repeating the exact same cycles. And I really just, yeah, feel like if I didn't heal myself in Australia and appreciate what I had in Australia, then I would never have been able to come over here and everything just click clack aligned into place, because I was doing the work back there. I was doing the work on the relationships that I already had. And you're not running away now. You're not running away from yourself. You're just allowing yourself to go inward, and then divine timing does the rest.
That's right.
Like it really is just, yeah, it is going inwards and having that solitude and going through, like you've got to go deep, you've got to go dark. Like that's
You
where
do.
the power is. You're not going to get this beautiful magic light on the other side without having gone dark. It's the law of polarity. It doesn't work that way. It Yeah, you've got to see both sides of the pendulum, because anyone can come over to Greece and think it's going to solve all their problems. But if you haven't adored the oceans in Australia, you're not going to adore the oceans in Greece.
Exactly.
It's going to be the same crap, because you're still in the same body with the same issues. and
Exactly.
and yeah, wherever you go, there you are.
And I think I'd said this to you the other day about I'd read somewhere and it said to accept God is to accept the devil, and the devil is God. And
Yes.
so, you really do have to love both aspects, because otherwise what can happen is the other side's just going to take over and you won't even realize what's happening.
Yeah.
But true wholeness within oneself is to recognize that God is all.
Yes.
And so that is the light and that is the dark, and that is trauma and that is pleasure, and that is all
yin yang.
of it. Right. And if you can accept that, not reject it, but you can accept it, everything in your life shifts.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter if your environment hasn't shifted just yet, or your person hasn't come yet, or this or that, or it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said, wherever you are, you are.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can just come to that within yourself and accept that, and that when you are in those dark places, that those dark places are for you, and they're serving you, and love it, actually love it. I thank my pain.
Yeah.
I love the suffering. I don't want to love it like I'm like encouraging it, but
You're accepting it.
But I'm accepting it.
You're accepting it and loving that is just one side of the pendulum, and it's going to swing as far as it's swung on your chronic nerve pain, and not to mention all the other pain. It's just going to swing equally on the other side, and I feel like we experience that every day. Every day it swings.
Oh, it's a pendulum all day, every day.
all day. And I think the thing is, it's like, like you talked about, this is exponentially going up, but you do have those dips in life, which are your training. It's that when you dip into those moments, it's dark, of course, and it becomes even darker than the one before. But now you've got the tools and the resources to get yourself out of it, because because you've done the work, instead of your neural pathways defaulting to the thoughts that are like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, this is what this means about me, I should never have blah blah blah, instead of those being the default, they're not. Because now the default is your higher self coming in and saying, you know that this is happening for a reason, allow yourself to feel that the emotions that you're feeling, and this too shall pass. Like, those voices become louder and louder, so that it isn't as dark. And my biggest example of this was, I feel like last year, my heartbreak and longing and looking for something outside of me lasted, 7 months. And then my most recent heartbreak was way darker, but it only lasted 3 days before I was able to bounce back and go, well, what did I learn in that 7 months? And, did all the things. And if we want to talk like some objective way of looking at it, it's literally turning around 7 months of pain to now 3 days. And yes, those 3 days were darker, but the light on the other side, I mean, this whole time we've been recording and I'm just looking at the mountains, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to hear the donkey at one point and the goats. Like,
love that.
So the love that comes out on the other side when you choose yourself is tenfold. Like, I want to say 100-fold. Like, it's no joke.
It is, and this is the thing though, like, it does cause pain. Like I said, at first it's going to feel, really harsh, but then what you start uncovering, even taking it back to anxiety and depression, when what would start was happening is that when it would show up, I was able to address it.
Yes.
And the more I could address it, it lessened. And then it not only did the time period lessen, but then as soon as it started coming on, I could start to recognize what was happening within me.
Yeah.
So I could stop the process.
100%.
Well, not stop it like you're wanting to, but because we don't ever want to try to control something, but you obviously don't want to have it. But you can accept it and embrace it and move through it. So it's like with your heartbreak, we have these heartbreaks. But if we actually, instead of, oh, why me, blah, 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 and then don't do any healing, don't do any self-reflection, and just go on and to another partner, to another this, to another
Yeah.
that, where you're not going to learn anything. But each time your heartache becomes less because you are mastering yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's all relationships are just extensions of yourself.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up anxiety, because that's such a simple way of because all the tools about anxiety, you know, from day one is that if you feel your anxiety come up, all you need to do is have the awareness and just go, okay, I'm feeling anxious. All right, okay, all right,
Yep.
all right, I get it. Instead of perpetuating the, oh my God, now I'm anxious. It's like recognizing it, having the awareness, and now you're like, okay, I'm smart. I've got the awareness now. Now, what are the tools and what are the things I know? And as simple as having anxiety, recognizing it, and just breathing or stepping away and going out into nature and breathing. And I think I always speak about like we talk about not having anxiety anymore. And it's not that we don't have anxiety, that still comes in. It's just now that we can squash it on our heads, and it doesn't get to a panic attack level.
Because
And
you're not feeding it.
exactly. And it doesn't get to, and you know, the depression doesn't get to the level where you now continue this cycle and go deeper and deeper, because you are aware of the thought patterns and you can sense, okay, I'm having this really intense dissociation. What can I do to get back into my body? All right, I'm going to move, I'm going to dance, I'm going to eat something. Like you now get the tools so that you don't identify with the label. Even neurodivergence as well. Like I used to really identify with that word and go, oh no, it's just because I'm this and that. And now it's like, no, I just have the tools. I've got my earplugs, I've, you know, for when it's overbearing and I still want to be able to hear things, but you know, I'm in a city or something. I've got my headphones for when I'm walking around the city and I need to block stuff out. I know the foods that help me. Like I know, you just do all the tools and you do all the things for yourself, and like not identifying with different types of pain as a label. It's like, this is who I am, and I'm just gonna redesign my life to make these things a little easier for me. I'm not going to try and force myself down a path that is painful and then brings out my anxiety and depression and
That's right.
you know, my traits that don't seem to fit into that world. It's not even about that it doesn't fit in. It's not that we don't fit in or we don't belong. It's like, no, let's just go create our own world and we'll have more fun.
That's right.
It's taking the power back and pulling away. And I know this could definitely be triggering, but it's not identifying with the labels. It's going, okay, I'm just going to take charge and just forge my own path. And yeah, it all seems scary, but it's the path of following your intuition is way less scary than the damage that is done when you
The
don't
damage.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was
And that
even
was
no,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was even reflecting on like my chronic fatigue. Like when I was working in a job that wasn't soul serving, I was so tired all the time, and it made no sense to me, because I know that, even drawing back to human design, I know that I'm a generator, and I know that I can tap into literally unlimited energy when I'm doing what I love. So that was, you know, the proof was in the pudding there. And now I have energy like, you know, like crazy, but also because I've designed my life in a way that allows myself to rest, so that I can bounce back 10 times harder. So
That's right.
yeah, it's not easy, but honestly, that choosing the path, it's like going to the gym or whatever. Like, you know, short-term pain for long-term gain. Like you can either work real hard right now and change things so that your future is easier, or you can continue to choose what's comfortable and safe, which is actually more painful in the long run. So
100%.
the choice is yours, honestly. And I really, really do believe that following your intuition is a muscle, and it will get easier and easier. But each step that you take, you recognize the voice, you recognize the feeling, and
Yes.
before you know it, you don't even have a bad day. Like, you don't have a hard decision, because you can just stand out the front and go, do I want to walk this way or do I want to walk this way? And whatever way you trust, it freaking works out. It really does.
It really does, no matter what. And
no matter what.
you know, spirit was coming through when you were speaking, actually, about the anxiety and stuff, and wanted me to show an example that might be helpful for others who, you said it's a bit triggering, and it could be a bit triggering at this point, for where we are. Oh, I'm having deja vu. For where we are on this part of it. So I'm just going to jump back to when
please.
I was in my toxic relationship, because intuition and anxiety and depression came up, and so they're two really big things. So at the start of that interaction, spirit had me run from the car, run, and I know run.
So you just met him, and your gut was telling you to run. Yeah.
I had to get out of the car. I just couldn't sit there anymore, and I ran home. And I actually had to take off my clothes. I couldn't stand the smell. I had to shower, and I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
And he then spent 9 hours on the phone convincing me it was my walls and I'm afraid of love. But anyway,
the donkey just went off. Preach.
Preach.
Yeah.
A year later, when I fled, and God says to me, we're only going to leave you there for a year. It was very much about the intuition. This was a mass teaching, not just for me, but I'm a teacher, so it was for everyone that's willing to and open. But our intuition is never, ever, 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 ever wrong.
Never.
Ever. About people, places, things. Even if you don't know if you want to eat something, your intuition will tell you. So our intuition is our superpower, and it's also a muscle to work out, like you're going to work out the gym. So you really have to make a commitment to say, I'm going to honor my intuition. Ego is my man is in the back. Go and get rid of ego. Yes. Ego has so much to do with that, because it'll get in the way of your intuition.
And because ego wants to keep you. So, and I think as well, ego, I think so many spiritual teachings are like, F the ego, like, get rid of it. No. This is the polarity. Like, honestly, if you see your ego as that little wounded child that is just trying to keep you safe and trying to keep you secure, that is all it is. But recognizing that you just need to say to yourself, okay, I get that you're scared, but I'm a big adult now, and I know I trust my intuition. So you're going to come with me, and we're going to trust this feeling, and I can promise you it will work out. And it really is. Your ego is just trying to keep you safe, to keep you content. But your gut is the adult. It's the adult you now. You know more than 7-year-old you.
It's your higher self GPS system.
Yeah, I love that. GPS, 100%. Inner guidance.
100%, and it will come through in all sorts of ways, because I even had a memory show up, and it was a few months in from this relationship, and I was doing a live video, and I was pulling some oracle cards, and I pulled this card, and it was the unseen, and it wasn't good. And I start reading it, and I almost go white, and I don't go white, like I was like, something was not, and he was watching from work, and he straight away, I got off the video real quick because something just wasn't right. And he straight away called me. Yeah, I was live recording. And so then he went into, like, he must have picked up, oh shit, she's gonna, like, start to notice the flags. And so he swooped in, but it came through on the card. So the intuition, your higher self, is doing everything. It's doing everything to show you.
If you listen, it is trying so desperately to get in contact with you.
Yeah, so desperately. So your intuition, it's your GPS system, it's your higher self's GPS system, and it's extraordinary. And then the piece of the depression and anxiety that then has kicked in a few months later, and I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with me? Why? Like, okay, I'm doing all this. So what I want to say to people that are in a situation where it might not be simple to self-regulate, because, sorry if there's extra noise going on in the background.
No, you're right.
You might not be in a position where you can just go to the beach, put on your headphones, do this, because I was pretty much 24/7 in the home with him.
Trapped, yeah.
And so I didn't have the self-regulation, just wasn't even there.
No.
And I tried and I tried and I tried and I couldn't. And then the doctor had, said about antidepressants. Now, I did not want antidepressants. I had been down that route before and all of these things, but I was in such a bad way that at the end of the day, I chose just to get my serotonin rebalanced.
Yes, yeah.
And it takes about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So they say stay on it 6 to 8 months, but generally if you're on any kind of things like that, the doctors will have it on you for life, and that's a whole other conversation. Do not do that. That is counteracting exactly what you actually need. But I was like, okay, from a psychological point of view, from a biochemical point of view, I must be so lacking. Okay, I'm going to take these to get my serotonin levels up, because I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So I will do that. And I think it was about 4 months or 5 months later that I decided, no, I'm getting off these pills.
Yes,
now,
love that.
The abuse was getting worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not in a point where my life's getting any better.
No.
But because I knew what I know, I was like, okay, no, I'm going to get off these meds now. I've got just enough of my head, and I've got to find a way. What can I do? And my podcast was something that and putting online programs and together and things like that was the thing that I wanted so much, and where I was at. So I decided to do that. Oh my God, without a minute to even think or spare, or I found my way. I found my way to start my podcast in the worst circumstances I was in. And I found a way to put together my first online program and help people get out of their relationships, which was the catalyst for me being able to get out of mine. But so it was a bit of a journey. And so, if somebody listening is in a position where they just feel so overwhelmed and they think, oh, look, that sounds great and all, but like it's easy for you, or anything like that.
Certainly wasn't. No.
It hasn't been. It hasn't been easy. It isn't easy. It just gets easier. But there is no excuse. And my podcast coach actually, she did a podcast, and I remember I was listening. She records an episode and puts it out, and I'm listening in the car. And this was about, I think I had just fled now. And she spoke about me, and she said, if anyone had a reason not to do a podcast, it was Natasha Divine.
Yep.
And she did it. And I'm driving and crying, because I'm like, I didn't expect it. But it made me realize the strength and power that I had, and that my higher self, my GPS, was guiding me out.
Yeah.
It was guiding me out of this poison and this toxicity, and I had energetic parasites in me. I had all sorts of stuff to deal with. But nothing will stop you if inside of you've got this desire to grow, this desire to change, or you just can't stand yourself anymore.
Yep. You get so sick of yourself.
Do something about it.
Yep.
Even recently I turned to Cam and I'm like, I'm so sick of myself right now. I'm like, so that means, okay, what have I got to do?
Yep, you've got the power.
Because, no one's coming to save you. You are actually already here trying to save yourself. But you've got to
Yes.
listen.
I love that. And I love the visualization of, just thinking of you as an adult, like coming in and saving that little inner child version of yourself that didn't get what it needed.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time to give it what you know. And it's not about a man coming on a horse or a woman coming to save you. Like, no, you come in, you save yourself. And that is just so powerful. And as much as it breaks me to hear your story and what you were going through, I am so thankful that you're in a position to share that, because it does really show, because I haven't experienced the really, really dark and toxic relationships that you have. And so for somebody, for you to come on here and to prove that on the other side of it is love, not only for yourself, but it just even externally and in all your relationships healing, and that it is possible even when it is complete doomsday situation. All you need to do is listen to that GPS and just follow it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You still managed to do the podcasting. You didn't do it all in one go. You did one step at a time. You record one episode, and then you do this, and then you do that. And whatever that calling is, you can follow it and trust that it will get you out, but you have to listen.
You have
And
to listen.
and any time away that you can listen. And I know that you said about, it's, you can't run away to the beach in a toxic situation, but it really is in any moment that you can grab yourself, instead of scrolling. It's really just like, hang on, I'm just going to sit with myself. I'm not going to sit and watch TV and scroll and do all these things. Like, I'm actually going to go deep. Even if you're lying in bed, that's where you're going to hear the voice. And it's freaking scary,
Yes.
but
God,
take
my
any
my
time you
voice
can.
my voice came in when I was 2 o'clock in the morning, crying my eyes out on the floor of the toilet, on my knees, going to throw. When you're crying so hard that you feel like you're going to
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, please, God, I don't understand. Please, God. And I wasn't even in communication. We got I did not have the connection to Christ, to Jesus, to angels, to nothing at that point.
No. And how could you? He was cutting you off.
Right.
Like,
I'd had my connection the year before, and then I got completely cut off.
Yeah.
And I'd never had the communication at the level that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone time was in the toilet crying.
Yeah.
But God spoke to me. And that's the thing. God will speak through you, but you have to be willing to. You have to surrender everything that you think you know.
Yes.
You have to say, I don't know anymore. Please help me. I was like, God, Jesus, whoever.
Whoever's listening.
Whoever, whatever. And I mean, literally, actually, the next day, it was his mum, funny enough, that called in a prayer to Jesus, and I'd never had anyone.
Wow.
She's like, would you like me to call in Jesus and do a prayer for you? And like, I'm not religious or anything. I was like, okay, but I was desperate.
It's a surrender. You're surrendering. You're like,
full surrender.
I'm not going to hold on to this idea. Oh no, I'm not going to pray to God. Like, you're like, please ask and you shall receive, right? Surrender.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And within a month, I was gone.
Yeah.
So we really, and I haven't really had any alone time in the last year and 6 months either. Like none. Like like I don't even have one room to be in myself.
Yeah.
Much. So other than a toilet or a shower. So it can make it really challenging, because when you do have a beach to go to. When I was living on my own, or Jay was there every 2 weeks, but we're so chill living together. But when I could sit in my pod, I could get high and channel and do all of these things and have my music going, and there's times that it's so awesome, you can connect to yourself.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of situations where we're not in positions to be able to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you then have to really You have to accept yourself.
Yeah.
You have to forgive yourself. You have to love yourself enough to say, okay, GPS.
Yeah.
Okay, God.
100%.
Okay, Jesus.
And
Anybody? Like,
yeah.
you know, something, and it will arrive.
It will.
It
Ask
will
and you shall
arrive.
receive, honestly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I said this in episode 7, like when the whole, Eurostar saga was happening, getting the train. Like I said, please, God, send me angels. I need angels. And sure enough, they came. And I wanted to say the solitude is obviously so amazing and like ideal. And I'm currently thriving in that.
I'm living through you.
Yeah. But this is where it's like, meditation is not about finding the quietest place you can and sitting on a hill in stillness. Meditation is taking whatever moment you have and choosing to go inward and choosing to listen. So there's no excuses of like, oh, but I'm always busy and I'm on the go and I'm on the blah blah blah. Okay,
No.
meditate in your car, meditate when you're on the bus, meditate in those moments that you have before bed. Stop scrolling. Like, take a moment. Like, everyone is racing to distract themselves. Like,
They really are.
there really is no excuse, and your story proves that, and proves that even if you're taking a dump, like, you can still meditate in that moment. And
Yes.
it's
I actually feel my life is a walking meditation now.
Yes, right.
Because I am in the moment. Everything is just in the present moment.
Yeah.
And so whatever's coming up or I've got to transmute in that moment, like,
exactly. And emotions aren't convenient, they're not inconvenient.
No.
It's like, okay, this is a teaching right now. I'm not going to criticize, oh no, I can't cry now, oh no, I'm in a public place. Who gives a heck, honestly? Like, I know that crying wherever you need to cry is a hell of a lot more powerful than waiting until you're home in a little space where you can do it, because an emotion is not inconvenient. An emotion is a guidance. It is your GPS. It is a release. Release it when it comes out. And there's so much power in vulnerability. So
much.
Yeah, I really, really do believe in, meditation is not this like thing that you have to set time aside for. It's doing it on the fly. You're transmuting on the fly. Like, it doesn't mean you have to sit down for 10 minutes. It means in whatever minutes that you have, you choose to be present and you choose to listen to that GPS.
That's right. I mean, it could be like the donkey out your window.
Yeah.
It could be the bird here, and all of a sudden you're now mesmerized. See, to be in wonder, if you become in wonder of yourself and of life, you are a walking meditation. It doesn't mean I'm bloody happy all of the time.
No.
It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that I'm a balanced being.
Yes.
And we are on planet Earth, and in this hologram, in this game, this simulation, this whatever you want to call it, that's actually proven, by the way, by the CIA, that it is a holographic universe.
I know. I do need to go into this and the physics and all that, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. But if you can, what was I going to say about that?
Holographic universe, matrix, if you can being present, meditating,
God, it's completely gone.
Being in awe, being in wonder.
I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly where I was going with it. But
obviously wasn't meant to come out.
No. But if you can just like oh, that's right.
Yes.
Because we are in this matrix. That's right.
Yeah.
We are in the densest. If you just want to look at life as a planet, we're on a planet. Most people can grasp that.
Yeah.
That part. Mm-hmm. This is the densest planet.
Earth is the densest planet in our solar system. This is a fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just on that alone, the energy that we're dealing with, our skies are poisoned, our food is poisoned, we've been programmed by TV school, all of these things, even the psychology degrees in university are actually false. So we've got a big situation out here. So it's really important that we actually be really loving to ourselves. I'm actually
100%.
telling this to myself again.
Oh yeah.
Right now.
I always
Because
say this. I always say that like this podcast is for me, and like if anyone gets the benefit, because it's so healing to come on here and just speak straight from source. And yeah, anything that we say is for ourselves. So this isn't like no one needs to be like, oh, they're preaching it at me and like, oh Jesus. It's like,
no,
you can
God, no.
just listen if you want. This is for us to heal.
100%. And I really feel like just with everything, and this is changing a lot, because having come from being a teacher and a leader and all those things, and now I'm like, oh, I don't even want to be seen as that, because everybody with a soul, everybody has all the answers. Everybody is God's source. Everyone's a spark of God's source. And so it's not about finding, someone that's better than, knows more, this and that. It's just about what aligns. You might hear someone speak and something inside of you sparks, right? So you've been activated by this person's message, the codes in their voice. But then something else they might say might not resonate.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, let's wipe that person out.
No.
Or if you do like something someone says, it doesn't mean now you've got to listen to everything they say.
No, not at all. And yeah, we're the first, like we have platforms where we speak about our truth, and we're here to say like, no, it's about your truth.
It's your truth.
And
it's
I have
not
this quote here that I absolutely love. A healer does not heal you. A healer is someone who holds space for you while you awaken your inner healer so that you may heal yourself. Mariam Hasna.
yes.
That is it. That is it.
Yeah.
It's awakening the truth within yourself. It's not about listening to somebody else's full gospel. It's you have the gospel inside of you.
That's right.
Because our messages are skewed by our own bias. Like that.
Yes, and
we're trying to work it out on the fly. We don't know everything. Like
that's right.
The listeners are as much teachers as we are. Like I really fully believe that it's about your own inner healer.
It really is. And I don't even I would never refer to myself as a healer ever again, because I don't believe in claiming that. I am healing myself, and I'm an activator for others to heal themselves. But to say I'm a healer is very egoic, and I'm not going to do that. And when we have these platforms, and I don't currently have a platform up and running, kind of going through that process of deconstructing absolutely everything. But when I did, it was always a message of, yes, I have programs. Yes, you can come work with me. Yes, all of these things. But this is my space where I learn things and then I share them. And when we learn something and we go and speak it, we're actually integrating the teaching.
Yes. Yep.
So that's why we activate, when it's so cute. One of my favorite ones was one of my younger clients, and she comes into me so excited, and she's like, oh, I was telling the girls, I was giving them all this advice and everything and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, it came from you, but I didn't tell them that. And I said, no, honey. I said, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because that means that you received the message that you needed to receive.
Yeah.
You've integrated it into yourself, and you've now delivered it as you for someone else.
Honestly, that's what this is about. Like that makes me so emotional, because it's so beautiful. Like the divinity that they've then awakened in themselves, because they were open and willing to listen to a different perspective. And the fact that now not only have they learned, now they're learning, they're teaching somebody else. I can't. That gets me.
It's so wholesome.
That gets me every time. That is why we do this.
That's why we do this. That is the spark of creation, the spark of healing, the spark of light. And I think for anyone who would like or is looking for someone as a you know, as a guide, as a support or whatever, always look for someone who you want to look for, that key little thing that shows that they really do it because they want the best for you.
Yeah.
Not that you're going to be their client and that then they've now got more, look at me, look how many people I've helped, look what I'm able to do, this is what I can do for you. There's a lot of superiority out there and a lot of you know, teachings and guidance and support, and for me it's never ever been any of those things. You know, my ego's had moments where it's like, oh my God, someone's life was changed because of me. Oh my God, someone said that they've saved their life. You know, those things are incredible, but I don't see it as I did that.
No.
I see it as I followed God. When God says I need to speak, whether I'm comfortable or not, I say what needs to be said. And, you know, God has told me to be quiet for a year. And, you know, I think maybe a lot of my pain is it being held back in that silence too.
100%.
But at the same time, I have to listen.
Yeah, and it's whatever feels right for you. And in this, you know, this morning of me going, well, do we want to record now? And
That's right.
that felt aligned. And so it's like, yep, okay, that's the time. And what you'd said about it's not, if someone's life has turned around, you know, post our message delivery, free will is still at play. Like, there are hundreds of people that have heard the messages and get triggered and don't take that trigger as an activation. So
That's right.
it's all up to free will. It's all up to you. You've been preaching this stuff to me my whole life, and it was only, you know, about 2 years ago that I really took it on board. So it's all in free will, and it's all in the
Divine
individual's in the individual's own power and in divine timing.
And I think that, you know, divine timing without just it really is that faith and that surrender and that trust and getting expectations out of the way. Because even for me, not showing up for my community, then I've had to deal with, oh my God, am I failing? Am I failing my community? Am I this? Am I that?
No. And that narrative is egoic.
That narrative, so egoic. And I've actually been in the greatest service of my community.
Oh, yeah.
Because I called myself out on my shit and I went, hang on a minute. All of this is not right. Something's not right. All these teachings out there, then that means that my teachings may be skewed.
Yeah.
So I've gone away to really dissect everything. And so when I do come back, I know I'm coming back with the greatest service. And if I just continued sharing everything and doing, there's a part that
would be irresponsible to share from a space that doesn't feel
right.
That doesn't feel right. Like, that's why the periods of silence are so important, because that means you're working on yourself, you're integrating, and you're going to come back 10 times harder. And I really feel that truth. I know that I have periods of silence in social media, and it's just all part of the process. Like, it's just trusting, and once you come back, you get the evidence of like, yep, I really do need to trust the process. I really do. If I need to rest, if I need to be silent, that is productive, and that is part of the process. So
the greatest service is to yourself. And I think, you know, you'll hear this in the coaching world, you can't help others if you can't help yourself. But what I've uncovered in that space, and like you said, you know, you do it too sometimes, it's so important because you're actually giving a great service to your community when you do that. Because people can become, we can become very codependent, even on external information. And I had people who were watching me in their homes for 10 years, every day. Now, as great as that is, it was also creating a codependency. It was also creating a lot of other things. And people can siphon your energy. So when you feel this pullback, that is such great self-service, but also to others, because when you take that light back, they have to access their own.
Yeah, it's an invitation for everybody to go inwards. You're going inwards,
right.
and they too need to go inwards, because you can't rely on somebody else's message.
You can't
Like,
just keep scrolling. You can't.
Yeah, you have
If
the
you just keep
same
scrolling,
compass. You have the exact same compass inside of you, and
that's right.
it's as simple as that.
Another one of my other beautiful clients, she a few would say that when I'm not there, they could so feel me, and it was like I was an angel on their shoulder. And so if they would find themselves in a situation, they'd say, what would Tash do?
I love that.
And so you don't have to be there. If you are somebody who is showing up and in service, you do not have to be there for your clients or your community or for anyone constantly. You have to be there for yourself. And if you do that, your energy will be so clean that others can feel you. They can call upon you. People know if they're connected to my energy and they need an angel and they need assistance, all they have to do is call me and I'll show up.
Yeah, there's no separation. There really is
no separation. But I wouldn't be able to do that clearly if I didn't honor myself and honor the people that are there to receive messages too. So, I think that that's really important. And, it just always comes back to self. It's just always
really is. And speaking of honoring self, I am so busting for the toilet. So I'm going to have to end it there at 97 minutes. I'm in so much pain, so I'm going to have to end it. But thank you so much for coming on here. I'm sure that, it has been just as healing for you and I as it will be for so many people. I think we touched on so many different topics, and I'm so glad that we got this out there. It's just such amazing, rich, deep wisdom that has, this is your first appearance for a long time, well, since we recorded episode 3, which was in like April, May, potentially even before that. So
I think so. And I told a little bit more in my stories this time because nobody knows anything.
No, exactly.
So it's just a little bit more telling. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're just like, oh, do you think we should just do it now?
Yeah.
It made me like, I thought of an excuse and then
I know.
It's like, no.
It happens. It really happens. Because like as soon as I don't know, I find just sometimes the spark, it's just like, I've just got to do it now. Because if the spark is there, that was the compass. It was like, all right, could do it now. Like I probably I wanted to have a shower first. I was like, what does that matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, ego. Seriously, like being afraid of showing up and being afraid of, I know when we come on here, it can be triggering, even just for healing the wound between mother and daughter. Like we weren't, as discussed in episode 3, like we weren't always like this. And so I know that it's so hard for people that don't have this relationship with their parents, but it really is evidence that when you work on a relationship and you want it to be better, it totally can be.
100%.
It's up to you to drive that relationship. And this example that we can heal is an example that you too can heal the relationships with especially the lineage is so important. And sisterhood and the lineage between women is so important. So thank you so
100%.
much, just absolutely for everything. I'm so excited. I'm going to pee and I'm going to post this like straight away because this needs to come out. It needs to come out.
Yes.
Yay.
Well, I'm so proud of you, honey.
Oh, I'm so thankful for you. I really, would not be here without you, literally and figuratively at this point in my journey. Oh dear. Well, this is always how we end up hanging up on the phone. It goes on for like an extra few minutes, but I love you so much, and thank you so much for hopping on today. thank you everyone who's made it, 100 minutes into this episode.
Well done.
I will open up a question box for this one, and would love, to get the community going and hear your thoughts and
That'd be
what
great. I love that.
resonates. Let's get it started. We're opening up the community.
Yes,
It's
let's
happening.
do this.
It's time, everyone. So I love you all. Thank you so much,
Love
Mum.
you all. Love you,
love you,
baby.
love you, love you, and so much love to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.